What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Watch the game. We back. It's college football, NFL playoff time. And I'm here with my man Penn. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, comment on the videos, and share the videos. We're about to get into it. It's a lot going on. NFL, college football playoffs. I want to know what Penn is thinking. Because I don't have a dog in the fight. Either way. There's some interesting things going on. Also, college sports, man, taking a bad turn in a few areas. We can discuss that a little later. But college football, I think we got 3 games left. And I know you don't have a dog in the fight, but I still want to know what you think. Now, it's been your boy Trinidad Chambliss.
Yeah.
They're saying that he's going back to Ole Miss for a 6th season, pending the approval of the NCAA. Now, when I went out to the woods with you and the family, and we was watching the Michigan and Texas game, and then we got into the conversation of Trinidad and where he may end up next year, whether or not he would go to LSU. So just confirmed that he has cut a deal to go back to Ole Miss. Ole Miss is set to take on Miami, I think, on Thursday night in the semifinal round of the college football playoffs in the Fiesta Bowl. But I didn't know he was there. I know he spent some time at Ferris State. I guess he was there for 4 years.
Yeah.
And then, we went to Ole Miss as a backup. And Austin Simmons, I guess, got injured for the Ole Miss Rebels. And Trinidad took over that quarterback position and didn't give it up. Has that team, leading that team into the national championship hunt. And that's one of the things, I guess that's one of the positive stories, one of the good stories we talk about college sports. I don't know how old Trinidad is, but it gives me 6 years to play a sport at the college level. And you got some interesting things on the basketball side that may spark a little bit more controversy. I mean, in my opinion, I think some things need to change. Who you got, man? You got any opinions on all that? I just spit out a lot.
I mean, it's good to have new blood. I saw a stat somewhere the other day that this is the first time it hasn't been either Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia, or Bama in the semifinal in the whole era of the CFP. So I mean, it's nice to see some new blood in there. I think that's just a sign of the times for the modern era of college football. Now it's going to be more parity with the NIL. It's pretty much down to who can buy the best roster and develop that roster the quickest. A lot like we were seeing the one and done era in college basketball. Like, can you get the top recruits, the McDonald's All-Americans? You can get 3 out of 5 of them. Can you get them to jail in one season and win the national championship before they go be lottery picks? It's the same type of feel that college football got right now. But as far as who wins it, as long as Ohio State didn't win it and we didn't, if we didn't win it, they didn't win it, it's all right year for college football.
Yeah. So looking at, I'm gonna get into that. Some of the rules, the college football and college basketball has some slightly different issues between the two. When you talk about coaches leaving programs, And you know the calendar they're talking about, you know, trying to reset so it'll be a little much better for the coaches and the kids in these programs when coaches decide to take other jobs and stuff like that. And then with college basketball, there's another issue of former pros coming into the now being eligible to play NCAA basketball. In the case of you heard of James Najee?
Yeah.
Okay, so this kid was drafted number 31. He was 31st pick. I don't not sure what year. I think he was to Charlotte. I think he played in the semi in the summer league. He
Uh-huh.
went through the draft process, got drafted number 31. And that's a late in the NBA. What's that? Late first round, a high second round draft pick,
I think
31st.
that's late. It's 30.
31st.
It's 30 teams in the NBA, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
so he was the first pick in the second round.
Yeah.
So, and now he's eligible to play basketball at the University of Baylor. Now he's 21 years old, and things are changing. Now, in my opinion, I believe if we're going to do that, because they've been doing this with the kids from overseas for years. They play pro in other countries, and they come over to play college basketball. This has been going on probably since the 80s. I believe the first guy I remember, Andrew Gaze. I think he played for Seton Hall, and he was on the 89, the Seton Hall team, 1989. They lost to the Michigan Wolverines in the national championship game. I think he played some professional basketball overseas and ended up going to Seton Hall and playing in Seton Hall and getting a chance to play in the national championship. So it's been going on with with some of the foreigner players coming over to America from professional ranks. But now we're starting to see kids go to the NBA, and now with this situation, have an opportunity to come back and go play NCAA basketball. Now, if that's the way it's going to be, I personally think they should have an age limit.
That's I'm leaning. Yeah.
Yeah. And as far as the transfer portal, I think you should probably only be allowed to transfer so many times. Uh and you also going to consider red shirts and medical red shirts because these things do happen. But I think what it will do is it will put the responsibility on parents to help them further have better guidance for their young athletes' careers coming out of high school. You know what I mean? I think right now the way it's set up, if it continues to go the way it is, it's putting the high school athlete, especially for basketball, in a tough spot in a bad situation. I mean, traditionally we've been able to watch kids come out of high school, go to college, and you know if you could be one of the top 24 kids in the country, be a McDonald's All American. Typically, we see those guys a percentage of maybe if you got 24 guys in each class, you usually see anywhere from 5 to 10 of those guys end up on the pros at some point in the NBA level. But now with the NBA scouting the world with those 60 draft picks, when you think about the American basketball player, the high school athlete is totally different. And until they change these rules, they're going to have to be really uh, particular. Those kids are probably going to end up having going to junior college route or
Yeah.
lower levels, and hopefully. But if these rules don't change, it's going to be really really tough for the traditional high school seniors coming out of college. And I do believe they're going to make some changes down the road.
Unless you Bronny James. No. Yeah, I think it does. because I know we talked about this plenty of times before. I think out in the woods, but I think it does devalue the high school recruit, especially in basketball, if you have to go to a junior college, because a junior college essentially becomes college right now, and then after college you go to the mid majors or the major schools, and that's pretty much the semi pros at this level, and then you go to the NBA. So it sucks that it's happening that way, but as far as getting around it, yeah, it's got to come from I think top down. I think the NBA gonna have to figure out what they gonna do with their age limit situation. Then as they adjust, then the college can adjust for the NIL and the age limit, or if somebody go to the draft and then try and come back. I also think that with the college players, well, I ain't even gonna say that much. But it's unfortunate that the game has changed, but at the same time, it's things evolve. Things evolve, things have changed. So we just got to kind of adapt to it and make it better. I don't think we can look back at it and be like, it should be like the old way, because it ain't never going back to the old way.
No, I mean, that's why I say the age limit might clean some of this up, because, if we're going to take former pro athletes as far as, the G League or whatever the situation was where a kid gets drafted into the NBA and didn't quite make it, or it didn't pan out the way they wanted. If you're going to allow that kid to come back, to be fair to the kids coming from the high school level, from the JUCO level, whatever level division of college basketball, I'm thinking you have to set an age limit. And far as the transfer portal is concerned, you have to put a number on how many transfers a kid can have.
You like a two-time transfer, or if you go transfer, you got to be there 2 years or 2 seasons or something like that.
Yeah, or maybe it should show some type of academic progress with a degree. You know what I mean? Or medical. That's why I talk about medical red shirts and stuff like that, because injuries do happen. That stuff needs to be considered as well, in my opinion. And so, if you're talking about an age limit, in my opinion, the age for me would probably be about 24. 24. 24 is it. Maybe 25, but 24 is definitely, I would be comfortable at 24, because you think about it, when you graduate college on time, you're going to probably be about 22, 23 years old. Yeah. A grad student might be about 24, 25. And that lines up the academic process with the athletic experience. And it kind of matches everything up. And it puts the responsibility of making better choices the minute you leave high school.
So we still gonna keep before, was it 5 years to play 4? You get 5 years to play 4. I'm saying we get 6 years to play 5 with the age limit of 24.
Okay. I can live with that, but they got to do something. They got to do something, because it's just not fair. It's not fair to the kids coming out of high school. They already changed the way you can go JUCO and still play 4 years at Division I. You can play 2 years of JUCO, and you still could get your 4 years of eligibility. I mean, in the NCAA.
That would fit
Division I.
6 years to play 5. Yeah. Model.
Yeah. So they gotta kind of line it up well. It will make sense. There's also a situation with NIL where kids will get money from an institution or from a university, and then they'll walk away with a portion of that money. And what's happening is some of them are walking away from those schools, going to other schools, getting more money, but they're leaving behind. They'll have a paper trail of a lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
So there has to. It's been like the Wild Wild West for the past 2 years, but like I said, college football has its issue. College basketball has its issue. I think from a college football perspective, it's not a, generally speaking, the NFL already has a rule in place where if you're not 3 years removed from your high school uh, graduation, you cannot enter the
The NFL
the
draft.
NFL draft. And when you look at the maturity factor of the, as far as from a physicality standpoint, there's not many 18, 19-year-old kids trying to go to the NFL, straight out of high school. It kind of makes sense. It's kind of lined up right. And with the nature of the sport and the physicality of the sport, it makes sense. You're talking about boys going to men, to grown ass men when they get to be in the NFL. It's just two totally different dynamics when you talk about that. But the problem with college is that so many coaches are leaving, and the bowl system is flawed, and I think once we get to these semifinal rounds of this bowl college football playoff, there should be no other bowls being played because no one gives a damn about that. The only football we give a damn about is the NFL, the playoff, the way the playoffs are shaping, and the college football playoffs itself. As we speak right now, in the Division I FCS, Montana State is defeating. Last I checked, they were defeating Illinois State. That's just a totally different level of football.
Yeah.
But I mean, for them, it's a little different. I mean, I guess for those that follow that level of football, you kind of keep it that way. They've had a playoff system for the longest. We're not, generally speaking, talking about the same level of athlete at that level. But the college football, major D1, Power 4 levels really have to make some changes when you talk about the coaches leaving programs, and like the transfer portal had over 4,000 people, 4,000 athletes in it, and there have already been some guys have already decided where they're going. I don't want to get into it because I don't know a whole lot about, but certainly some problems in college sports. Good thing the guys are getting paid, and you still have to consider the fact that when a kid decides to go to a certain program, he may not always work out in that situation. So the transfer portal is there for many different reasons. There's many different reasons for coaches to leave places and advance their careers. And there's also going to be good reasons for players to transfer to other schools and advance their careers. But you have to have a happy medium where it doesn't look like the Wild Wild West. You're pissing off coaches, and in some cases, you're pissing off parents and players. And we got to have some rules in place. And unless you want to touch on that, I want to kind of get into these two games, and then we can get into the NFL a little bit. But unless you have something else to say about those things, let it rip, because that was one of the things we didn't get into when on New Year's Eve when we was hanging out, and I really want to get your opinion on them things. You know what I mean?
I would argue. First, I would argue the bowl games that's being played that's not a part of the CFP past the national semifinal. I would argue those games are similar to a UFL spring football game. Like it's football, but it's. I mean, what attention is it garnering?
That's ESPN. Most of those games on ESPN, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not watching them. I'm not watching them.
I mean, I don't want to see, and I'm just making up a game here. I don't want to see Memphis and New Mexico playing, January 9th. I just don't want to see. I don't need to see that.
No. Well, once we like you spoke on this a little bit on New Year's Eve, but you were talking about a situation where the college football playoff itself probably should be played the championship game on New Year's Day. Now, I'm cool with them extending it out, but right now, I mean, at one point it was a week into January. Now it's 2 weeks into January.
Oh, Yeah, that's
and I think they need to dial it back 1 week at least, because one thing to be considered, the first round we missed the total week before we went to the quarterfinals, which was last week. There was no games played like 1 week in between. You
yeah.
know, like the teams that won their first round game had like a week off, and then they went and played in the quarterfinals. So yeah, they need to dial it back a week. But
Well, they need to
but
move
but
it up.
I'm cool with it being after New Year's Day.
Yeah, move it up.
Yeah,
Move the season up to they started Labor Day weekend. That's when college football kick off. If
yeah,
you move the season up, I would move it up.
yeah.
I would
But
like mid August. If you could start, August 20th around there
yeah,
and play it out. And then once the conference championships happen, every the seeding is assigned after that last championship game, just like with college basketball. After conference championship game, they assign the seeds, they start playing on Thursday. That
yeah,
next week, playoff games need to begin. It's no reason
yeah.
for college football to be wrapping up on January 18th. Then
No,
you're running into an audience issue where the
yeah,
NFL ain't backing off of none of their properties.
yeah. Because they took the weekend away already. Hell, these games gonna be played on Thursday and Friday.
Right,
These semifinal games gonna be played on Thursday and Friday for typically a Saturday sport. You know
exactly.
what I'm saying?
And
It's
they
a
still
Saturday sport, and they gotta, they don't want to clash with the NFL, so they playing their games on Thursday and Friday now. So
But
it's
that again takes away from what college football is. We spend every Saturday doing this, then you changing up the routine, so the familiarity is off come this
yeah,
old season time. So
yeah,
I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot there that they
yeah.
need to adjust and work on. And I don't know if you remember, but last year was the first year of the playoffs, and that was on a Saturday. The
Mhm.
NFL had games on that Saturday.
Yeah, yeah. hmm
So
And they're not having that issue right now this year. They got their semifinals on Thursday and Friday. Ole Miss Miami on Thursday night, and then Oregon and Indiana on Friday night. Um, just a little bit about those matchups. One of them is a rematch. Indiana and Oregon is a rematch. But Ole Miss and Miami, two totally different football teams, in my opinion. Miami is a really good defensive football team, and Ole Miss is an offensive football team. Um, two contrasting styles. It's going to be interesting to see. I have a tough time. I have a. It's going to be interesting that matchup because I haven't seen enough of Miami to know just how good that defense is. But Ole Miss is the number 6 ranked team. So if I'm going based on rankings, I'm thinking Miami. I'm thinking Ole Miss will win. But I just have a feeling that Miami is going to be really, really, really physical. Do they have enough athletes to match up on defense with the athletes that Ole Miss can roll out on offense? I think that's pretty much what it's going to come down to. Ole Miss's defense is not all that great, but I don't know if Miami puts up points like that. I haven't really watched Miami a lot, but I know that defense is for real. Based on the little bit I have seen, they're for real. It's going to be an interesting matchup between those two teams. So I'm probably gonna go with I'm gonna go with Miami to win that game, man. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna Michael Irvin on the sideline pumping the fellas up. You know what I'm saying? He
well,
got all the U around it. It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot to go up against for Ole Miss. I think most people think that they have already overachieved at this point, winning 2 games in this playoffs without Lane Kiffin, who was their head coach. He's now taking their job at LSU. And I'm not Golden. Golden is the coach. I forget his first name. He's the head coach at Ole Miss now. He's got I think Charlie Weiss is still
yeah,
calling plays for the offensive coordinator. He's still calling plays for that team. So the coaching staff is outside of Lane Kiffin is seem to be pretty much still intact, but Miami just seemed like they just really physical, and I just don't know if Ole Miss is going to be able to match that physicality. It really comes down to how this game is going to be refereed, the style of play. It's going to be interesting to see, but I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna pick Miami to win. I'm gonna pick Miami to win.
I'm picking Miami for the whole reason of the coaches leaving Ole Miss. Is eventually at some point
Yeah,
that amount of turnover has to catch up with you, because I mean now you got position coaches stepping up a level and they coordinating and all that kind of stuff. Eventually that link in the chain is going to get exposed, and
yeah,
it's going to cost you a game. So
yeah,
and I also think it's nothing against Chambers, but I also think it's something to be said for Carson Beck, who's played in a lot of big football games
yeah,
in
yeah.
Georgia,
Yes.
and him being the quarterback of Miami with that defense that they got. I think that's just going to be hard for Ole Miss to overcome. I'm not
Yeah.
picking Miami to win it, but the whole entire thing. But I think Miami is going
Nah. I'm gonna go week to week with that right now, and then like I said, I'm picking Miami to win that. I think they're gonna be extremely physical. I think that's gonna be the tell of the game. The way it's refereed and if they allow the physicality, I just think Miami will wear them down, and I don't see a lot of scoring being done in this game. I mean, 24 points can win this game, in my opinion. Because but I don't know if Miami is going to want to play, uh, a game where they're going to be scoring. It's definitely I don't see it being a shootout because I don't know if Miami is built like that.
yeah.
I know Ole Miss is, but the only way that can happen is that Ole Miss would have to get a couple turnovers, and Carson Beck will turn it over from time to time. But if he could take care of the football, I can see Miami winning that game in a not much of a rock fight, but 30, 24, 24, 27 points can win this football game, in my opinion. Um, then you got the Friday night matchup, the Heisman Trophy winner Mendoza and the hottest coach in America, Kirk Singetti, the biggest turnaround in the history of college football, probably. And, I'm on off subject. Before me and you went on, I watched Nebraska basketball, men's basketball, number 10 in the country, ranked number 10 in the country, and they beat Ohio State tonight, and they
Okay.
go 15-0. Right now, they have the longest winning streak in college basketball, Division One at 19. Now, talking about the change of time, Indiana football is number one in the country. People didn't think that was for real. And now Nebraska, a football school traditionally, is undefeated and they're ranked at number 10 in the country. Times have really changed. NIL, now Fred Hoiberg is coaching that team. His son is on that team as well, but they defeated Ohio State. And I have not watched as much college basketball as I plan to coming up in the very near future, but I was able to catch that tonight. Right now, as we speak, I'm watching USC and Michigan State. So,
I actually just saw Nebraska, Michigan State on Big Ten Network last night. Actually,
yeah,
it's
and
back and forth.
Nebraska just beat Michigan State, from what I
Yeah,
understand. So that was a big,
yeah,
a big victory for him. But it's just the times have really changed. Nebraska, traditionally a football school, and, one of the better teams in college basketball. In Indiana, traditionally a basketball school, both representing the Big Ten, which Nebraska in the Big Ten is still something for me to get used to, even though they've been there for a while. It was always I think a Big 8 or a Big 12 school
they
for
was
so many years.
they was a Big 12 school.
Yeah, and it used to be the Big 8 back in the day, but then they expanded to 12. But times has really changed. NIL, transfer portal, and stuff like that has really changed college sports. And in that respect, probably for the better because, times are changing. You're starting to see, some other schools get in the limelight. And I think that's good for the sport. Just got to clean up where the money's going and where the transfer is going. Get all that stuff cleaned up. But I'm gonna pick Indiana. This is a rematch. Indiana devastated. I mean, they put it on Alabama. Indiana's the first team since since this is the second year of the college football playoff. Every team that had a bye up until Indiana played Alabama, all the top seeds that had a bye, they were like 0-6. Indiana goes and beat Alabama 38-3, dominating fashion, and in the Rose Bowl. And I can't pick against them now. I can't do it because they've already beaten Oregon once, but Oregon's defense has stepped up really good, and I believe that game is going to be physical, another physical game. Oregon coming in with a chip on their shoulder, being that they lost to Indiana. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm not going to pick against Indiana. I'm going to pick Indiana and Miami to get to the national college football game, which will be played on January the 19th in Miami. In Miami. So Miami beat Ole Miss. They go home.
Yeah.
They go home to win a championship. So they got to be inspired about that too as well. So I'm picking Miami and Indiana to meet on January the 19th in the National College Football Championship game.
I'm going the other way. I'm taking Oregon just because I think the Cinderella or the magic ride eventually. I think Oregon is the more talented team, but Indiana is riding a culture rebuild wave that's been like unlike anything we've ever seen.
Yeah.
With them just being a basketball school and what they've been known for traditionally for football, and then having the Heisman Trophy winner this year, been a number one ranked team this year, making a college football playoff even last year. So, but to go undefeated, I think that's a big ask. I don't think we're gonna see that a lot in college football anymore. And I just don't think Indiana is talented enough of a team. I think they can win the national championship, but that loss need to had already occurred for them to run the table.
Yeah,
win 2 more games. That's a lot. And you're going up against Oregon. I think Oregon, like I said, is the more talented team. That defense has really been playing. Oregon got the chip on their shoulder because they already lost 30-20 earlier in the season. So, yeah, I'm thinking it's gonna be more like Oregon and Miami in the national championship.
Okay, you got Oregon, Miami. I got Miami and Indiana, and I'm gonna hold on until we're just gonna enjoy these semifinals. I don't want to get too deep into it. I want to leave some meat on the bone, to talk about these college football playoffs going forward down the home stretch. Now, turnover in the NFL, getting ready for the NFL playoffs. Of course, the Bears are in it. One of the biggest collapses of the season was the one. I apologize to those in the 317. The Colts. First 4 to 6 weeks of the season was probably considered one of the best teams in the NFL, and they had a really big drop off and had a major injury to Daniel Jones and changed the fortunes of that team. They brought in Phillip Rivers to try and, I guess, save the season. 42 years old, was it? Phillip Rivers, unable to 44 years old.
Yeah.
Unable to get the job done and they carry them to the playoffs. One of the biggest collapses of the season. With that being said, the NFL playoffs are set to be starting this weekend as well. We just spoke now. Saturday is when they kick those games off. Saturday games are, I know the Bears play.
We close it out.
Packers that night. Okay, so the Panthers and Rams kick off at 4:30 Eastern time. Panthers, I think the Rams are going to Carolina. Carolina clinches their division, backing into the playoffs, and the Rams like 12-5 record on the season. They're going to be the visiting teams going to Carolina to play the Panthers. And then of course the Bears and Packers kick off later on that evening at Soldier Field. Bears kind of, I don't want to say backing into the playoffs, but they're most certainly coming off a 2-game losing streak. And these two teams, this is what's unique about the Bears and Packers outside of the rivalry itself. Both of these two teams, their last win for both teams have came against each other.
Mm-hmm.
The Packers' last win was against the Bears at Lambeau, and the Bears' last win was against the Packers at Soldier Field. Now they get the kickoff for the playoffs Saturday night at Soldier Field. I don't know. I may get out. With the fans and watch that. I may go hang out somewhere and watch that game. Even though I'm suspended, I may go out and watch that game. Because it's playoff football, and I may have to kick it with some people. I may have to kick it with some Bear fans, and see how they react to this. But Soldier Field gonna be electric. It was electric the last time these two teams matched up. And I think it's going to be more the same the next time. The Seahawks got the number 1 seed. And then on Sunday, the Eagles and 49ers play. I believe they play on Sunday. And then the AFC, the Steelers. Let me see when they play. Okay, they must be playing on Sunday as well. But Saturday, the Jaguars and Bills play on Saturday as well. The Jaguars and Bills, and then the Patriots and Chargers, they play on Saturday. No, they play on Sunday because the Steelers they're gonna be playing on Monday night against the Texans. Interesting matchups, man. What you think about the playoffs? NFL playoffs. We got some coaches moving around too. Some dudes got fired today, man.
Yeah, I know.
We got 6 openings now.
Yeah. What strikes me about the Bears makes me nervous playing the division rival for the 3rd time. I know we split, but both of them games came down to the wire. Both of them games, it was like splitting hairs. So I don't think that either team is tremendously better than the other. I think it's just a flip of a coin. And then the fact of it being a playoff game, I feel like if we fumble and stumble in this game, that kind of erases kind of all the momentum that we just built up, taking the North, even though, we was only 2-4 in the division, but you beat your rival. I think the way they won that, and because they had clinched a playoff spot, they kind of getting a pass losing these last 2 games. So yeah, I'm not going into this game feeling very comfortable. It's making me very uneasy as a Bears fan about this game. But the other games we were talking about, the Rams going to Carolina. I would love to say that, that's an easy win for the Rams, being that they didn't look like the best team in football a lot this year, but didn't they lose to Carolina earlier?
Yeah, I just thought about that. They lost to Carolina.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was at Carolina or not, but I mean, it certainly puts them in a situation where they should definitely be focused because they did lose to this team. So we know the Panthers are capable of beating them. But I just, this will always be an issue because we always have this kind of being an issue over years past in the playoffs. The issue of the Panthers getting a home game and they actually, have the worst record and they get a home game playing against the Rams. The Rams coming out of the NFC West at 12-5, along with the 49ers. I think the 49ers ended up at 12-5. And the Seahawks won their division. But those two teams, I think they both have to go on the road. The 49ers and the Rams, they both have to go on the road to play the division winners
Yeah.
in those the NFC South and the NFC East with the Eagles and NFC South with the Panthers. So winning your division really means something in the NFL because you can have a losing record, you win your division, you can have the worst record in the playoffs, you're gonna get at least one home game, and that will probably always be a controversy. But I think the NFL is setting the standard on winning your division, rewarding them with those
Yeah.
one game, at least one game in the playoffs. Um, and the NFL gets it right. We've been talking about how fantastic the each game every week we had a game to look at. You know what I'm saying? One or two games, even down to week 18. Now that 1 o'clock Eastern window wasn't all that great. Because I guess on Saturday you had the Panthers and the Bucks play a big game on Saturday, and someone else. It was it 2 games on Saturday that kind of took away from Sunday.
Yeah.
The 49ers and the
And the
Seahawks played on
Seahawks.
Saturday evening. So those 2 games kind of took away from the last week, the last Sunday of week 18, but
The
there was
Packers
two
didn't
pretty
play.
good games.
The
Say it
Packers.
again.
The Packers set their starters.
Yeah, so did the
Versus
Eagles.
Vikings. Yeah. And
Yeah.
the Vikings, I think JJ McCarthy ended up leaving out of the game early, banging up his hand or something like that. So he left the game. Yeah, like we just said, the Eagles, they didn't play their starters. So that 1 o'clock window was kind of like you had to have a rooting interest, a reason to watch.
Let me tell you what I did.
Should do
Well,
it.
I had planned on watching Minnesota and Green Bay
I was
because
like,
I didn't know. I wanted to see another game of Malik Willis, but I didn't know Malik was injured. So when I saw Tune out there, I cut on the Xbox. I just played college football on the Xbox until the 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock Eastern games came on to watch the Bears and Lions. Because outside of that, strange thing is Atlanta played the Saints, and with Atlanta beating New Orleans, that gave the Panthers the division championship. Now,
that
that
game was
might have
in the
been
3 o'clock window too, right?
I'm not sure, but I didn't watch it. But it was I want to say that was in the 1 o'clock window, but that 1 o'clock window wasn't all that entertaining. So I just waited for the Bears and Lions game, and that game in itself. I mean, the Bears ended up losing 19-16, and that might be some of your concerns on that defense. But this is what I was wondering about the Bears and Lions game. What approach would the Lions take in this game? And it appeared to me that they went in there with a bit of chip on their shoulders, and they wanted to beat Ben Johnson because they're out of the playoffs. It reminded me of the year when they went into Green Bay,
Yeah.
and they just wanted to beat Green Bay and kind of ruin. I don't know if they were trying to knock Green Bay out of the playoffs at
They
that
did.
time.
Yeah.
But they went in there, with a chip on their shoulder to beat Ben Johnson. And in my opinion, 2 things happened. I think Dan Campbell made some questionable play calls that gave the Bears opportunities to win that game. And I also think with Caleb Williams going into that game, attempting to be the first Bear quarterback in the modern era to throw for 4,000 yards. That game seemed to me in the beginning like Ben Johnson was trying to coach Caleb to get 4,000 yards. The running game wasn't what we're used to seeing. And I think coming off the good performance the week before with the 38 points they put up against the 49ers the week previous, I felt like that they went out trying to get Caleb that 4,000, didn't really commit to the run game. And I was also surprised with Detroit's defensive effort because they haven't really been good on the defense on defense pretty much all season. They've been dealing with some injuries. The score of that game was more surprising to me because you would probably think there would probably be more of a shootout, but it wasn't. It was 19-16 total final score. I think Caleb finished 58 yards short. He ended up getting he's got the most yards for passing in the Bears history. He passed up Eric Kramer to do that, but he didn't get to 4,058 short. So I just thought that Ben Johnson's game plan, when you talk about the run game that we got so used to, and the Lions aren't particularly good at stopping the run, I just thought the game plan was set up in my opinion, I think the game plan was set up for Caleb to get to 4,000. They didn't do that, and they lost the game as well. But it didn't hurt them in the standings.
Well, yeah. I thought the game plan was kind of a reflection of Detroit killed them in time of possession. Like the Bears never had the ball really.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they probably was maybe a little bit more pass heavy, and they script to start the game just to see if Caleb had it rolling or not. And then, if things was going that way, then, you could attempt to get this record. But if not, I think Ben would have ultimately tried to win the game. And I also do think that they was trying to get they lick back from that 50 that they gave up, that 50 plus they gave up. If they could have put up 40 on Sunday, they would have definitely done it. So that again leads into Caleb getting the 4,000 yards. But it was more so a faction of Detroit keeping them off of the field. And then when they got on the field, them slow starts again reared their head. And then before you know it, it's the second half. And so the whole game plan was kind of thrown off. The offense never got into rhythm. But I mean, for it being
they got into a rhythm, it was just too late. And then and then at the end, that intentional grounding call kind of stunted the progress of that last offensive series for the Bears, because most people thought, hey, here we go again. They about to march down the field and get it done.
Especially like after the Bayer interception,
Yeah, so, but that intentional grounding call kind of set them back. Then you question, but they were deep in their own territory. I think they're at their own 30-yard line or something like that. 4th and 5. They had a situation where they maybe want to go for it. And it was saw on television, or they showed a clip of Ben Johnson saying, I should have went for it for that 4th and 5, because I guess he thought that he would get the ball back. That didn't happen. The Lions go down, kick a winning field goal.
I mean, I'm all for being ultra aggressive. I mean, I do that kind of stuff on Madden, on college football. But in that spot on your own 30-yard line is 16-16. You playing for the number 2 seed.
Yeah,
I don't think you can go for 4th and 5 right there, because if you don't, you essentially already in field goal range.
Yeah.
So you got to trust your defense at that point. So
yeah, and that's what he did. But you saw the clip. I think I sent it to you. It's like they read his lips. I probably should have went for it, and he's probably going into this wild card game. They're probably going to try some things on defense. Do you think Jalen? I know you're not a big fan of Jalen Johnson, but many fans don't think he's 100%. That one route that who's that ran that
it was Armand. You talking about that crosser and he just ran away from him?
Was it Armand or was it what's the other receiver?
I don't think it was Jameson, because Jameson, he shouldn't have been covering him no way.
But I think it was Jameson, because Jameson, like he smoked him. I think it was Jameson.
Well, he
on that cross. But it was the route, like he ran right across his face, got wide open, went up the sideline. But many fans don't think that Jalen is healthy.
Yeah,
they don't think Jalen is healthy. I really don't. I think he'd had a tough time covering those receivers anyway. I mean, at 100%, they're very talented. with Amon-Ra St. Brown and what's the kid's name you said?
Jameson.
Jameson Williams.
Yeah.
Those are them some extremely talented guys. Jameson is a speedster. I really don't think he can run step for step with Jameson. That was a bad matchup, got exploited. But hey, this defense got to get it together. And they had a major one of the guys went down with a concussion.
Oh, C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah, he went down with the concussion, but now I'm hearing that Kyler Gordon might be cleared to practice.
I don't like it.
But you talking about putting him out there. He hadn't been out there in a while, and now he's about to go out there and play against the Packers. You consider all that. When you consider that the Packers set 16 players, 16 starters they set when they played against Minnesota. So the Packers are coming in as healthy as they could be, and the Bears defense is laboring at best. And they're probably not even revealing a lot of the injuries. They just getting over the flu bug going through the locker room. It's a lot going on. But the Packers coming in, it's a lot to be concerned about. The defense with the Packers, they probably do some gambling to get some pressure on Caleb. That's the one thing you don't feel too threatened about the Packers defense. But you have not seen Jordan Love for about 3 weeks now. So when a guy's been gone for 3 weeks and you've been watching Malik Willis for a couple weeks or 3, what are you scouting? Immediately going into this game, because if Jordan Love plays, what exactly are you scouting after this team has been doing something totally different for 3 weeks with Malik Willis? I just think that it's going to be a tough matchup for the Bears. The Bears are on tape. And they put a lot of tape down against San Fran. They put a lot on tape with San Fran. And you got to wonder, what does Ben Johnson have in his playbook? And I'm pretty sure he has something that has not been seen up to this point. And with that quarterback, with that lineup, now consider the fact that Rome Odunze may play, and Caleb has developed a big chemistry with Colston Loveland. But now we're wondering about the health or whatever of DJ Moore. And I think the Bears have plenty of weapons to go around, so you can't really key in on one guy. It's all about getting the pass rush on Caleb. If you don't do that, Ben Johnson can pretty much dial up whatever he wants. He can pick a guy. This the number one guy. That's number one guy. You're talking about Caleb. You're talking about Cole. You're talking about Loveland, DJ, Burden. He has weapons. You cannot just key in on one guy. So the pass rush is going to be, Jade. The last couple of weeks, you're right. The pass rush for the Packers is going to be key. But at the same time, with the play that the play of the Bears defense, it's going to be an interesting matchup. It's just really going to be interesting. It's Bears Packers on Saturday night. It's going to be electrifying. And before we go off tonight, I got some things I want to touch on. The last game of Sunday night, the Steelers and Ravens.
That was for the division. Yeah.
And me and you picked the Steelers. I picked the Ravens. So I picked the Ravens to win the Super Bowl. So I'm out. I can't make a Super Bowl pick. This is one thing I want to make for the Super Bowl. I want to see a competitive Super Bowl. I do not want to see a shootout. Okay? So I wouldn't be mad if the Seahawks made it.
Okay.
And I wouldn't be mad if the Broncos made it or the Texans made it. Because then I know we're going to see some competitive defensive football. That's about all I can say. Now, I know you got a dog in the fight. I'm suspended.
Yeah.
Many people ask me if the Bears win the Super Bowl. I'm not going. I'm telling you guys, it's not going to move me because I
We in
know
Grant Park.
I
We in
know I'm.
Grant Park. If
It's
they
kind
win the Super Bowl, we in Grant Park.
it's kind of cold to be out of Grant Park this time of the year, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But um, that game between Pittsburgh and the Ravens, that was a playoff game in itself. That got us ready for playoff football and NFL wild card or weekend. Man, but it's devastating. I think the kid's name is Tyler Loop,
Yeah.
the kicker for the Ravens.
Yeah.
He hadn't missed uh, anything under 50 yards all year, other than that one kick. Um, you have to think about Lamar Jackson. When you think about it, when I really think about it, the Steelers deserve to go to the playoffs over the Ravens. This is the reason why. Aaron Rodgers fought injury all season long, fought to get back and develop chemistry with his receivers after losing his probably most productive receiver with Metcalf. But just from a standpoint of one quarterback deserving to be there, both of these defense was pretty much suspect. But with Lamar being peppered in now and then most of the season after after the Kansas City Chiefs game, I think it'd be best for Lamar to take this season to recharge, and they got to get some improvements on this roster. Forget all the talk about firing John Harbaugh. That's trash. That's trash. Forget all the talk about trading Lamar Jackson. That's trash as well. In my opinion, what they need to do is get a 1-2 punch with with the running back. His name slips my mind, right? Derrick Henry. Get another 1-2 punch with him. Go get you another big receiver or something like or another really good receiver, tight end. You know, you can always use help on the offensive line and just go back at it. This being a year where the Kansas City Chiefs, the Baltimore Ravens, not making the playoffs, I believe it gives both of them franchise an opportunity to build around their talented quarterbacks. O-line, running game. You don't have to do much to the Baltimore's running game. And they already got Derrick Henry if he comes back. But if you can get a 1-2 punch with Derrick, it can only help. Get another receiver outside of Zay Flowers, because he's a small guy. Get him some more receivers. Get him some O-line help somewhere. Because everybody can use depth at the O-line. Take this off season to get healthy. Come back next season, and they probably won't. They probably won't have a tougher schedule because this year they played a first place schedule. Next year the schedule won't be as tough. You might get a chance to see Lamar Jackson back in the hunt. Patrick Mahomes, same thing in KC. It's time to build around the running game around Patrick. He don't have to be Superman no more. Travis Kelce might be on his way out. So you have to restructure that offense. And I think you need to restructure it around the running game, offensive line. The defense pretty good. Probably need to get younger at some spots on that defense. Like I said, you can never go wrong beefing up your offensive line. But the Kansas City Chiefs, I believe, going forward, will be beefing up their run game going into the 2026 football season. And I don't even know if we're going to see Patrick Mahomes right away early in the season. I don't know the severity of his injury. You may not even see him week 1. I don't know. I'm just saying that if you're going to build around him going forward, you got to do up the running game.
Yeah, well, I just work backwards here. Mahomes got hurt maybe week 14, week 15. It was an ACL. So, I mean, for him to be back playing by week, the first quarter of the season, that would be remarkable. But it's going to be interesting to see because if you're looking at the guy he's chasing, Brady had a knee injury as well. And so he had a certain amount of Super Bowls before that. and then he won some Super Bowls after that. So he still was able to return to, best quarterback in the game status. So it'll be interesting to see if Mahomes regains that pedestal. He's getting older, probably a tad bit overweight. Not as fast. He'll still run it and can get you some yards, but you can tell he's slowing down a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how he comes back from the knee injury and how the Chiefs build the team around that, his timing of when he comes back and new pieces that they put around him, because I don't think Travis Kelce will be there no more. They need to restock the O-line. I know they sold off Joe Thuney last year. The defense, other than Spags calling a great scheme most of the time, they wasn't able to get the stops that they needed this year. So they'll probably look at a few positions to get younger, a little bit more athletic in those positions. But going back to that Steelers game, I think for that to be the last game of the season, everything on the line, and the way it played out, a lot of people, I don't even hear them talking about the whole timeout situation where Aaron Rodgers with the comms went out in his helmet and he burned 2 timeouts. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking in my head, like, you Aaron Rodgers, just call a play.
Yeah.
Timeouts was too valuable. And remember, they used one earlier in the half. I think he was trying to draw him off sides. So I think Aaron Rodgers really mismanaged 3 timeouts in the second half. And then for that game to come down like he did, he drove down the field, got the touchdown. They missed the field goal. Then they give up a pretty sizable return on the kickoff. Mm-hmm. And then they get it to 4th down. And the Steelers got the highest paid defense in the league. But one of the oldest defense in the league, and they couldn't get off the field. So you thought it was pretty much over when Isaiah Likely made that catch, and for him to miss that field goal, and it wasn't even in the end zone where they have all the wind swirling in the stadium. It was just like, wow, like
hell of a way to end the season.
Fantastic.
Yeah, but like I said, when you look at the way it ended up, I'm just looking at the commitment. And I understand. I know Lamar was not healthy all season. I just think this gives him an opportunity to reassess, whatever he's doing to stay healthy. I don't know if it's nutrition, his training, whatever it is, but just gives him an opportunity because he's been in the playoffs the last few years, got a couple of MVPs under his belt. Now I think that gives him an opportunity to, kind of get to the off season a lot sooner, get his body right. Hopefully he can stay healthy next season, and maybe the Ravens can make a run next year. And I think the same way, you can say the same thing for Patrick Mahomes as well. But Aaron Rodgers, I think he's the one at 42 years old. At 42, this might be his last hurrah. As we don't know the situation, and many people don't think they're going to fire Mike Tomlin anyway. But I'm not saying I'm rooting for Aaron Rodgers, but I mean, he certainly deserved to be in these playoffs. And Mike Tomlin certainly deserves an opportunity to win a playoff game in Pittsburgh. He's been on fire. He's been getting in the playoffs every year. Just he's been missing at that position with the quarterback. Aaron Rodgers has been, you can say he's the reason why they're in the playoffs. Outside the fact that defense did give up, did give the Ravens an opportunity to kick a winning field goal and end the Steelers season. That's what it pretty much came down to. So if I'm just going on fate and a guy that put more work in just based on the offensive side of the ball, Aaron Rodgers deserves to be in these playoffs. Just based on that. I mean, he's been fighting, injuries, and he's been hitting the field, to try and, preserve this team's season. And now he gets to have DJ Metcalf back and they go to play the Texans. I don't want to make any predictions on that, but it is in Pittsburgh. And we'll see how that goes. Before we wrap up tonight, there's been some things in the NFL. Some coaches have been fired. So Raheem Morris has been let go by the Atlanta Falcons. He's already been notified that he that the Tennessee Titans have interest in interviewing him. Pete Carroll has been fired by the Las Vegas Raiders. Jonathan Gannon has been fired by Arizona by the Cardinals. Kevin Stefanski let go by Cleveland, and of course we know the Giants in Tennessee. They fired their coaches earlier this season. A couple hot names, maybe a couple retreads that I thought about, and I want to know what you think, and we can wrap up. I got Raheem Morris. Like I said, he just, there's been stated that he's been contacted. Maybe Tennessee's got some interest in interviewing him to be their next head coach. But Brian Flores and Matt Nagy are probably going to be two candidates for head coaching positions in one of these 6 locations, in 2026. So, and you got to wonder, with Pittsburgh's situation, if they don't win a playoff game, we don't know what the situation is. I don't think they will fire Mike Tomlin. Then there's some people that think that Baltimore will fire Harbaugh. So right now we got 6. We got 6 jobs open. And just for the sake of saying maybe 8, and I think let's say Tomlin did get fired. He get hired 3 weeks later. Right. Let's say John Harbaugh got fired. He get hired 2-3 weeks later.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see what happens at least 1 week into wild cards, because we really don't know the Baltimore Ravens situation. We really don't know the Steelers situation. But right now we know that Atlanta, Las Vegas, Arizona, Cleveland, New York Giants, and the Tennessee Titans have vacancies at their head coaching positions. With that being said, are you making a pick? Bears, Packers, Soldier Field, Saturday night. Are you making a pick?
Listen, I'm picking the home team. I'm picking.
You just don't feel good about the matchups right now.
No, I don't. I don't. I really don't. I wish, like, I was in the camp of I didn't want the Bears to get that number 1 seed because I thought they was hot and they needed to keep playing.
You didn't want that bye week to crumble because that's what got them. That's what got them in 2018. I don't know if it was that, but I remember them having a bye that week and that year, and then they lost on double joint. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so I wanted them to keep playing. I do think them losing the last 2 games is good for them. But yeah, I'm taking a home team to win. I think it's gonna be close. I think it's a 30-23 type of game. Bears come out on top. Hope they come out on top because that'll be a good way to go into the big old birthday. So Bears, I don't want my birthdays to start off sour.
I got that is right. Your birthday is coming up. What that's the 10th?
No, Sunday the 11th.
Yeah. The 11th, no, somewhere around there. I got a lot of birthdays this month. It's a lot of birthdays this month. Couple friends, family members, yourself. It's a lot of birthdays this month. So yeah, there it is, man. Getting ready for the playoffs. Thanks for watching, and we're gonna be looking forward to this Bears Packers matchup. It's gonna be interesting to see. The one thing that concerns me is that Jordan Love has not played. He can be a little rusty, but it's like, what's on tape? What you gonna scout? They didn't play 3 different quarterbacks in the past 4 weeks. What are they scouting? Dennis Allen has his work cut out for him. That's pretty much all I can tell you.
Like and subscribe. We out.